The text arrived while I was reviewing quarterly reports in my office. Honey, about Easter, your father and I think we need some quiet family time this year. Just us, Emma, and her kids. You understand, right? You're always so busy anyway. I stared at my phone, a familiar ache settling in my chest. My name is Olivia Mitchell, and at 34, I'd just been uninvited from another family holiday. The irony wasn't lost on me. Being the busy, successful one had somehow become a convenient excuse for my family to exclude me. Perfect timing, Mom, I typed back, my fingers steady despite the hurt bubbling inside. I was actually thinking of doing something different this year. The response was immediate. Oh good. You're not upset. We just want some peaceful bonding time with the grandkids. You know how hectic things get with everyone around. By everyone, she meant me. Just me, because apparently my sister Emma's 3 hyperactive children under 10 qualified as peaceful, but my quiet presence was too disruptive. I set my phone down and turned to my computer, opening my saved folder labeled Someday. Inside was a collection of dream vacation spots I'd been cataloging for years. One particular destination caught my eye, a private villa in the Maldives, the kind of place that made Instagram influencers weep with envy. For years, I put off taking exotic vacations, always making sure I was available for family gatherings, always being the responsible one. While Emma gallivanted around with her perfect family, sharing picture-perfect holiday moments, I was the one organizing events, buying thoughtful gifts, and maintaining family traditions. My phone buzzed again. And sweetie, could you still make those Easter baskets for the kids? You know how much they love your special treats. I laughed out loud, uninvited but still expected to contribute. Classic. Instead of responding, I opened my banking app. The bonus from my last successful project sat untouched, along with years of savings from being the workaholic my family always accused me of being. The Maldives Villa's booking page was still open in another tab, tempting me with images of crystal clear waters and pristine beaches. Sometimes, my therapist had told me just last week, the best response to being excluded is to create something better for yourself. I clicked book now. The confirmation email arrived just as another text from my mother popped up. Also, could you drop off the Easter ham on Saturday? I know you always get the good one from that special butcher. I sat back in my chair, a smile spreading across my face. For the first time in years, I felt lighter, almost giddy. I opened my calendar and began blocking off 3 weeks, one before Easter, Easter week, and 1 week after. Then I did something I'd never done before. I set my work email to out of office and called my assistant. Sarah, remember that extended break we discussed? I'm taking it. All of it. Finally, she exclaimed. Want me to book those meetings for when you return? Yes, and Sarah, make sure to forward me any family emails. I have a feeling they're going to be interesting. The next few days were a blur of preparations. I bought a new wardrobe, not the practical business attire I usually wore, but flowing sundresses, elegant beachwear, and accessories that screamed luxury vacation. I hired a professional photographer in the Maldives to document my stay. If my family wanted peace and quiet, I'd give them something to be quiet about. A week before Easter, another text arrived from Emma. Mom said you're not coming to Easter? Don't be difficult, Liv. You know how much the kids want to see their favorite aunt. I sent back a simple response. Don't worry, I won't be difficult. I'll be unavailable. Have a peaceful Easter. The emoji was just enough to make Emma pause. What does that mean? Where are you going? You'll see, I replied, then silenced my phone. The morning of my departure, I posted a simple photo on Instagram, my passport next to a first-class ticket, with the caption "Time for some peace and quiet of my aunt" was the first personal post I'd made in months, breaking my usual pattern of sharing only work achievements and family event photos. Within hours, my phone was flooded with messages. Mom, Dad, Emma, even my Aunt Susan all wanted to know where I was going. But for once, I wasn't available to answer their questions. I was too busy boarding a plane, champagne in hand, ready to start my own peaceful Easter tradition. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of their peaceful Easter turning into 3 weeks of regret. The Maldives were more breathtaking than any photo could capture. As I stepped onto the private deck of my water villa, the turquoise ocean stretching endlessly before me, I felt a surge of joy. This was what peace looked like, not being excluded from family gatherings, but choosing your own paradise. My villa was a masterpiece of luxury, floor-to-ceiling windows, a private infinity pool that merged with the ocean horizon, and a personal butler named Kay who seemed to anticipate my needs before I even knew them. "Miss Mitchell," Kay said, arranging a welcome fruit platter, "the photographer you hired will be available tomorrow at sunrise. The lighting then is magical." I smiled, already imagining the photos. Not the forced family portraits my mother insisted on every Easter, but professional shots of me living my best life. "Perfect, Kai, and the other arrangements?" "All set. The private yacht tour, sunset dinner on the beach, and the spa treatments are scheduled. Also, the chef wants to know if you'd like to join the private cooking class. They're making traditional Maldivian dishes. Back home, I'd be preparing Easter baskets and hunting for the perfect ham. Instead, I was learning to make exotic dishes and planning adventures. The contrast wasn't lost on me. My phone, which I'd kept on airplane mode since landing, buzzed with accumulated messages when I briefly checked it. "Mom, honey, where are you? The kids are asking about their Easter baskets." "Emma, OMG, did you seriously leave the country? Mom's freaking out." "Dad, Princess, this isn't like you. Call us." I responded with a single photo, me in a designer sundress, holding a coconut drink on my private deck, the infinite ocean behind me. No caption needed. The response was immediate. Emma called 3 times in succession. I declined each call with a serene smile, then sent her a video of a pod of dolphins playing near my villa. "Is that where you are?" she texted back. "That looks like one of those super luxury resorts. How can you afford that?" I could almost hear the jealousy in her message. Emma had always assumed that because I was single and focused on my career, I was somehow missing out on life. She never considered that not having 3 kids and a spending-happy husband meant I had resources to spare. The next morning, as the sun painted the sky in shades of pink and gold, the photographer captured shots that would make any travel magazine envious. Me doing yoga on the deck, enjoying a floating breakfast in my private pool, snorkeling with sea turtles. Each photo was carefully curated and posted throughout the day. My usually quiet social media exploded with activity. Friends, colleagues, and family members couldn't stop commenting. "Living your best life. This is what peace looks like. Where's my invitation?" But it was my mother's comments that truly showed the impact. "Olivia, please call us. The Easter dinner won't be the same without you. Sweetheart, we didn't mean to upset you. Those Easter baskets you make, the children are so disappointed." I posted another photo in response, me taking a cooking class, learning to make exotic desserts. Caption, "Creating new traditions." Emma's response was particularly satisfying. "Must be nice to be so selfish and only think about yourself." I replied with a video of me releasing baby sea turtles into the ocean as part of the resort's conservation program. Caption, "Finding peace in helping others." By Easter morning, while my family was probably gathering for their peaceful celebration, I was having breakfast on a private sandbank, surrounded by nothing but crystal clear waters and serenity. The chef had prepared a feast that made traditional Easter dinner look bland. Fresh tropical fruits, local delicacies, and pastries that belonged in an art gallery. I posted a photo of my Easter dinner, a private beachside barbecue with fresh caught lobster and champagne. The caption read, "Sometimes peace finds you in unexpected places. Happy Easter." My phone nearly exploded with notifications. Friends asking for resort details, colleagues praising my well-deserved break, and family members who hadn't spoken to me in years suddenly wanting to reconnect. But the most telling response came from my mother. "We made a mistake. Please come home soon. We miss you." I took a sip of champagne and watched the sun set over the ocean. Going home soon. I was just getting started. This wasn't just a vacation. It was a declaration of independence. And the best part? My peaceful paradise was about to make their quiet Easter look like exactly what it was. A poor excuse to exclude someone who had always been there for them. Little did they know, the photos and videos I'd shared were just a taste of what was to come. The next 2 weeks would show them exactly what they'd missed out on, and more importantly, who they underestimated. The final 2 weeks of my Maldives getaway became a masterclass in living well. Each day, I shared carefully curated glimpses of paradise that made my family's peaceful Easter look increasingly disappointing in comparison. My sister Emma's passive-aggressive comment about selfishness particularly inspired me. I arranged to spend a day at the resort's Marine Conservation Center, helping with coral restoration and sea turtle rehabilitation. The photos of me in diving gear, helping marine biologists, sparked a new wave of admiration from my social network. "Never knew you were so passionate about marine life," commented my cousin Kate, who'd sided with my parents about the Easter exclusion. I responded with a video of me naming each sea turtle I'd helped, explaining their stories and rehabilitation journey. The resort's photographer captured it all, not just the glamorous moments, but the meaningful ones too. Me teaching local children English during a community outreach program, participating in beach cleanups, and learning about sustainable tourism. Each post was a subtle reminder that being busy and successful didn't make me the family disruption they'd painted me to be. Mom's texts became increasingly desperate. The kids barely touched their Easter baskets. They said they weren't the same. "Your father's ham was overcooked. You know he never gets it right without your help." Emma's youngest had a meltdown during Easter egg hunt. "You always knew how to calm her down." I responded to each with photos of my continuing adventure, swimming with manta rays, taking a sunset cruise on a luxury yacht, enjoying private beachside spa treatments, living my best life while they dealt with the chaos they'd chosen. Then came the turning point. Emma posted a family photo from Easter dinner, everyone trying to smile but looking strained. Her caption read, "Family peace and quiet, missing some noise though." I waited until evening in the Maldives to respond. Mind you, they'd all be awake back home. I posted a video montage of my entire trip, the villa, the adventures, the conservation work, the luxury experiences, set to peaceful ocean sounds. The caption, "Found my peace in paradise. Sometimes exclusion is the greatest gift you can give someone." The response was nuclear. My phone exploded with family messages. "Dad, Princess, we made a terrible mistake. That place looks incredible." "Emma, I can't believe you did all this while we were stuck dealing with sugar-rushed kids and mom's drama." "Mom, why didn't you tell us you could afford such luxury? We thought you were just working all the time." The family group chat, which had been notably quiet during Easter, suddenly sparked to life. Relatives I hadn't heard from in months were tagging me, asking about the resort, wondering if I could help plan their vacations. On my last evening in paradise, I hosted a private dinner on the beach. The chef prepared a fusion of Maldivian and international cuisine, while fire dancers performed on the shore. The photos were spectacular, me in a flowing white dress, dining under the stars, looking completely at peace. I captioned it, "Thank you for the space to create my own traditions. Best Easter gift ever." My mother called immediately. This time I answered. "Olivia," she began, her voice thick with emotion, "we were wrong. So wrong. We thought you were too busy for family time, too focused on work to enjoy holidays. But look at what you've created for yourself. It's beautiful." "Yes, Mom," I replied calmly, watching the stars reflect on the ocean. "It is beautiful, and all it took was being excluded for me to finally take this time for myself." The silence on her end was heavy with understanding. "Next Easter," she said finally, would you help us plan something like this? As a family?" I smiled, thinking of the photos from their peaceful Easter gathering. The chaos, the stress, the forced smiles. "Maybe," I replied. "But first, you all need to understand something. I'm not just the reliable daughter who makes Easter baskets and picks up hams. I'm someone who can create magic of her own." "We see that now," she whispered. "We really do." As I packed to leave paradise, I received one final message from Emma. "I get it now, sis. Sometimes the noise we need isn't from kids or chaos. It's from someone who brings their own kind of peace. Next holiday is yours to plan. Show us your version of family time." I looked around my villa one last time at the paradise I claimed for myself when they tried to exclude me. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about rising above, finding your own peace, and letting others realize what they missed. My last post from the Maldives was simple, a sunrise photo with the caption, "Thanks for the space to grow. Next family gathering will be on my terms." Paradise has room for everyone, if they're ready to appreciate it. The likes and comments poured in, but I didn't check them. I was too busy planning next Easter's family gathering, this time on my terms, in my paradise. Sometimes the best response to exclusion is to create something so magnificent that inclusion becomes a privilege, not a right. And that's exactly what I did. The text arrived while I was finalizing my holiday plans. Honey, your father and I think it's best if you skip Thanksgiving this year. We want a quiet celebration with Emma and her family. You understand, right? I stared at my phone, a bitter smile forming on my lips. Of course, they wanted me to skip another family gathering. Emma, my perfect younger sister, with her perfect husband and perfect twins, always took priority. My name is Olivia, and at 34, I'd grown accustomed to being the family afterthought. While Emma got the spotlight for every minor achievement, my successes were met with polite nods and quick subject changes. Even when I made partner at my law firm last year, my parents managed to turn the celebration dinner into a discussion about Emma's twins starting preschool. Sure, Mom. Have a wonderful time, I typed back, my fingers steady despite the hurt churning in my stomach. What they didn't know was that their text had just confirmed my decision about the surprise I'd been planning. 3 months ago, I purchased a stunning villa in the French Riviera, a move I kept quiet from my immediate family. The property, with its breathtaking Mediterranean views and spacious rooms, was perfect for what I had in mind. You see, while my parents and sister lived in their small bubble, I maintained close relationships with our extended family. Aunt Marie, who taught me to bake when my mother was too busy with Emma's dance recitals. Uncle James, who attended my law school graduation when my parents chose Emma's baby shower instead. Cousins who actually remembered my birthday and celebrated my achievements. They all knew about my success, my promotions, my investments. Unlike my parents, they'd been interested in my life, my dreams, my journey. And when I mentioned hosting Thanksgiving at my new villa, they were thrilled. I picked up my phone again, this time to check the group chat with the extended family. The excitement was palpable. Aunt Marie, just booked our flights. Thomas can't wait to try French cuisine. Uncle James, Sarah, and the kids are packed already. Can't believe it's still 2 weeks away. Cousin Michael, got the wine tour scheduled for Friday. This beats boring hometown Thanksgiving. 23 family members had confirmed. Uncles, aunts, cousins, their children. Everyone except my parents and Emma's family. I'd arranged private tours, wine tastings, cooking classes with a local chef, and a spectacular Thanksgiving feast that would blend American tradition with French elegance. My phone buzzed again. Mom, maybe you can come for Christmas instead, if Emma's schedule permits. I almost laughed out loud. Always conditional, always dependent on Emma's plans. I didn't bother responding. Instead, I focused on the final preparations. The villa's staff had everything under control. But I wanted every detail to be perfect. The bedrooms were assigned, the activities planned, the menus carefully curated. I even arranged for a professional photographer to document our celebrations. The week before Thanksgiving, my mother called. Olivia, honey, I hope you're not too disappointed about Thursday. It's just that Emma's twins have been so fussy lately, and you know how your father gets when there's too much chaos. Don't worry about me, Mom, I replied, watching the Mediterranean sunset from my villa's terrace. I won't be alone. Oh, do you have plans with friends? The surprise in her voice was almost comical, like I couldn't possibly have a life without their inclusion. Something like that, I said vaguely. Actually, I should go. I have some arrangements to finalize. Arrangements? Olivia, you're not working through Thanksgiving, are you? You know how we feel about. Goodbye, Mom. Give my love to Emma and the twins. As I hung up, my Aunt Marie's car pulled into the villa's circular driveway. She and Uncle Thomas had arrived early to help with the final preparations. Watching them exclaim over the villa's beauty, I felt a warmth that had nothing to do with the Mediterranean climate. This is incredible, Olivia. Aunt Marie hugged me tight. Your parents have no idea what they're missing, do they? I shook my head, smiling. They're about to find out. Uncle Thomas whistled as he took in the view. Their loss is our gain. Though I can't wait to see their faces when the photos hit social media. Neither can I admitted. Neither can I. The next few days were a whirlwind of arrivals. Cousins with their families, uncles, aunts, each arrival bringing more joy and excitement to the villa. Every room filled with laughter, every meal an impromptu celebration. This, I realized, was what family was supposed to feel like. The evening before Thanksgiving, as everyone gathered on the terrace for a welcome dinner, I raised my glass. To family, I said, looking at the faces of people who had chosen to love and support me unconditionally, the ones who show up. 23 glasses clinked in response, and I knew that tomorrow would be unforgettable, not just for us, but for those who had chosen to exclude themselves from this gathering. Little did my parents know, their peaceful Thanksgiving was about to become a lot less peaceful when they saw what they'd missed. Thanksgiving morning at the villa was everything I'd imagined and more. The scent of freshly baked croissants mingled with traditional turkey aromatics, as our private chef balanced French cuisine with American tradition. Children's laughter echoed through the marble halls as my younger cousins played hide and seek among the antique furniture. My phone buzzed with a text from Emma. "Happy Thanksgiving. Mom wanted me to check if you're doing okay by yourself. We could FaceTime later if you're lonely." I glanced around at my bustling villa. Aunt Marie and Cousin Sarah were arranging flowers in the dining room, their animated discussion about table settings punctuated by frequent laughter. Uncle James was teaching the teenagers how to play petanque in the garden, while other family members were either helping in the kitchen or exploring the village. Lonely? I hadn't felt this connected in years. "Thanks, but I'm quite busy actually. Enjoy your quiet celebration," I replied, adding a smiley face for good measure. The photographer I'd hired arrived mid-morning, capturing candid moments of genuine family joy. Every shot was perfect: the sunlit terrace overlooking the Mediterranean, cousins sharing stories over wine, children playing in the manicured gardens, and the elaborate feast being prepared in the gourmet kitchen. "These photos are magazine-worthy," the photographer commented, showing me some preliminary shots. The lighting, the location, the genuine happiness on everyone's faces, it's magical. Around noon, my phone rang. It was Mom. "Olivia, are you sure you don't want to join us for dessert later? Emma's making her famous pumpkin pie." I stepped onto my private balcony, watching Uncle James teach my youngest cousin how to properly throw a petanque ball. "Actually, Mom, I'm in the middle of hosting lunch. Can I call you back?" Hosting. But I thought, the sound of children's laughter and animated conversation must have carried through the phone because she paused. "Where are you exactly?" "France," I replied simply. "The French Riviera, to be specific. I bought a villa here a few months ago." The silence on the other end was deafening. "You bought a villa? In France?" Her voice had risen an octave. "Why didn't you tell us?" "Why would I? You've made it clear that my life isn't a priority. Besides, I didn't want to disturb your peaceful Thanksgiving plans." More silence then. "Who are you hosting?" "Oh, just the family. Aunt Marie and Uncle Thomas, Uncle James and his crew, all the cousins and their kids. Everyone except you, Dad and Emma, actually. They've been here all week. We've done wine tastings, cooking classes, toured the villages. It's been wonderful." I could practically hear her mind racing, calculating all the family members who had chosen my celebration over their usual Thanksgiving plans. "All week," she sputtered. But they always come to our house for Thanksgiving." "Things change, Mom. Sometimes people prefer to be where they're genuinely wanted." "That's not fair, Olivia. We just wanted a quiet." "I need to go, Mom. The photographer wants to get some group shots before lunch, and Chef Antoine is about to serve the first course." I ended the call and turned to find Aunt Marie standing in the doorway, a knowing smile on her face. "Let me guess," she said. "Catherine finally realized what she's missing." I nodded, accepting her warm hug. She did. "Good," Aunt Marie said firmly. "Maybe next time they'll think twice before excluding you." The rest of the afternoon was a feast for all senses. Chef Antoine outdid himself with a menu that married traditional Thanksgiving dishes with French haute cuisine. The turkey was perfectly cooked, accompanied by both classic stuffing and local delicacies. The wine flowed freely, each course paired with selections from nearby vineyards. As we gathered around the long table on the terrace, the setting sun painting the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks, I couldn't help but feel grateful. Not for my parents' exclusion, but for the reminder it had given me about what true family means. My phone had been buzzing constantly, texts from Emma, more calls from Mom, even one from Dad. But I ignored them all. Instead, I focused on the moment. Uncle James telling embarrassing stories about his college days, cousins planning tomorrow's adventures, children sneaking extra desserts when their parents weren't looking. The photographer captured everything, each click of his camera preserving memories of what would become our new tradition. Because looking at the joy around me, I knew this wouldn't be a one-time event. This was the beginning of something special. As the evening wound down, I finally checked my phone. Among the missed calls and texts was a notification that Emma had been trying to add me to her Instagram close friends list, something she'd never done before. I smiled, knowing what was coming. Tomorrow, when the photographer's pictures started appearing on social media, when the extended family began sharing their stories and photos of our magnificent French Thanksgiving, my parents would truly understand what their desire for peace and quiet had cost them. But that was tomorrow's drama. Tonight, I had a family to celebrate with, one that had chosen to be here, chosen to include rather than exclude, chosen to create memories together in this beautiful place. And that was something to be truly thankful for. The day after Thanksgiving, I woke up to the sound of waves and excited chatter from the garden. Through my balcony doors, I could see several cousins already enjoying breakfast on the terrace, while the children chased each other around the fountain. My phone had exploded overnight. The photographer had delivered the first batch of photos, and as planned, everyone had started sharing them on social media. The images were stunning: sunset dinner on the terrace, children playing in the Mediterranean garden, elegant table settings with the sea as backdrop, and countless candid shots of genuine family joy. Aunt Marie had posted an album titled A Thanksgiving to Remember, with a caption that read, "When one door closes, another opens in the French Riviera. Thank you, Olivia, for showing us what family celebrations should feel like." The likes and comments were pouring in, including from my parents' social circle. Their country club friends, church group, and neighbors were all commenting on how magnificent everything looked, asking why Catherine and Robert weren't there, wondering about the beautiful villa. Emma called first. "Why didn't you tell me?" she demanded, her voice a mix of anger and envy. "A villa in France, the whole family there, Mom's having a meltdown." "Tell you?" I replied calmly, watching the morning sun sparkle on the water. "Like you tell me about your family gatherings, like you told me about the summer barbecue last month or the twins' birthday party. That's different. Those were small." "No, Emma, it's not different. You and Mom and Dad created your little exclusive circle, and that's fine. I created something better." I could hear one of the twins crying in the background. Emma's voice dropped to a whisper. Mom's devastated. All her friends are asking questions. The Hendersons even canceled their Christmas dinner with us to accept your invitation to New Year's here. I hadn't even announced my New Year's plans yet, but apparently, the family had done it for me. Good. "Well," I said, "I guess Mom got the peaceful holiday she wanted." "How was it?" Emma was quiet for a moment. "Boring," she finally admitted. "Dad fell asleep watching football, the twins were cranky, and Mom kept checking her phone every 5 minutes after your call. It wasn't like Thanksgiving should be." "No," I agreed, "it wasn't." After hanging up, I joined the family for breakfast. Uncle James was organizing a boat tour for the afternoon, while Aunt Marie and Cousin Sarah were planning a trip to the local markets. The kids were debating between the beach and the pool, and someone was suggesting a picnic in the vineyard. Then my father called. "Princess," he started, using his negotiating voice, the one he used to use when he wanted me to give up my plans for Emma's sake. "Your mother and I have been talking." "Dad, I'm actually heading out for a boat tour with the family. Can this wait?" "That's what we want to discuss. Family, unity. Your mother is very upset about all this. I watched my real family getting ready for their day, laughing and planning together." "I'm sure she is, Dad, but you know what? I was upset too. Every time you excluded me, every time my achievements were overlooked, every time Emma's needs came first. The difference is, I did something positive with that feeling." "But buying a villa, hosting Thanksgiving, without telling us. Like you planned holidays without telling me? It doesn't feel good, does it?" He was quiet for a moment. "No," he finally said. "It doesn't. Enjoy your peaceful weekend, Dad. I need to go. Uncle James is waiting." The next few days were a blur of activities, laughter, and memory making. More photos appeared on social media. Our boat tour along the coast, wine tasting at a historic vineyard, cooking lessons with Chef Antoine, sunset dinners in the village. My parents' phones kept ringing with friends asking about the French villa they'd never seen, the family gathering they'd missed, the daughter they'd apparently underestimated. A week later, as the family was preparing to depart, Aunt Marie hugged me tight. "You know they'll try to invite themselves for Christmas," she said. I nodded. "I know, but Christmas is already planned. I'm taking everyone to my chalet in the Swiss Alps." She pulled back, eyes wide. "You have a chalet too." "Bought it last spring," I grinned. "I think it's time for a new holiday tradition, don't you?" As I waved goodbye to the last departing family members, my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Honey, about Christmas. Your father and I have been thinking. I left it unread. Let them think. Let them wonder. Let them finally understand what it feels like to be on the outside looking in. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about creating something so wonderful that those who excluded you can only watch and regret their choices. And as I stood on my terrace, watching the Mediterranean sunset and planning Christmas in Switzerland, I knew I'd never have to spend another holiday feeling unwanted or overlooked again. I'd built my own traditions with family who chose to be there, in places that took their breath away. And that was worth more than any peaceful, quiet dinner my parents could ever plan without me.